Okay.
Good morning. We're going to begin with a hymn. This is not in either one of the hymnals, so the lyrics will be being projected, but it's a very simple tune, and I'm sure you'll pick it up real quickly. It's called Come and Find the Quiet Center. Come and find the quiet center in the crowded life we lead. Find the room for hope to enter. Find the frame where we are freed. Clear the chaos and the clutter. Clear our eyes that we can see all the things that really matter. Be at peace and simply be. Silence is a friend who claims us, cools the heat and slows the pace. God it is who speaks and names us, knows our being, touches base, making space within our thinking, lifting shades to show the sun, raising courage when we're shrinking, finding scope for faith begun. In the Spirit, let us travel, open to each other's pain. Let our loves and fears unravel, celebrate the space we gain. There's a place for deepest dreaming, there's a time for heart to share. In the Spirit's lively scheming, there is always room to spare.
There I am. Good morning, and welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship and to our multi-platform service. I am Karen Griglack. Jean Canella is joining us today as our service associate, and our minister is back with the children today. Our wonderful musicians are Carmen Sandim on piano, and Wendy Nelson is leading us through our hymns today. And I especially want to thank the people who work behind the scenes that make us seen and heard: Larry Sherwood, Mary Hill, and Deborah Mensch. Without their hard work, this would be a very different experience. Of course, there would be absolutely no reason for us to stand here today without the most important part of all of this: you. For without you, there is no us. As I say our welcome words today, I want to invite you and those of you on Zoom to shift into gallery mode if you haven't done so already, and scroll through the screens so that you can experience the beauty of this congregation. Those in person, look around and see who you can recognize through their masks. You are all welcome here today, in all of the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes, and sizes that come together in your uniqueness. You are welcome here. In all of the ways that you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, You are welcome here. In all of the ways that you make your living and the places that you are from, you are welcome here. With all of the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here. No matter how long you are away, nor how soon it will be until you return, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today.
We acknowledge that the land surrounding us is the stolen territory of the Arapaho people, and that many tribes roamed freely on this land for millennia before the arrival of white settlers. We commit ourselves to being a center for spiritual exploration and justice making, and to anti-racism and anti-oppression work within and beyond our congregation. If you're new here, we're glad you found us and hope that in community, whether you're joining us in person or virtually, you can experience the warmth and the love of this congregation. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. We have many opportunities during the week for social connection and spiritual growth. Those on Zoom can check out the links in the chat to help you get connected. Those in person can find our newcomer form on the QR code in the back of the hymnal, or stop by the welcome table in our foyer to get connected. All on Zoom are invited to the virtual coffee hour after the service, and roomies are welcome to stay and chat, being mindful of social distancing. And as a reminder, any service participant who take their masks off tested negative for COVID this morning. We ask that you keep yours on while in the sanctuary this morning at all times, even during introductions, joys and concerns, and especially while singing. Finally, if any new visitors on Zoom would like to introduce yourselves in the chat, please do so. We love to know who is among us. And are there any visitors in the sanctuary today who'd like to introduce yourselves? Please stand up or raise your hand, or have your neighbor raise their hand for you. And we'll bring a microphone so you can tell us your name and where you live, if you would like to do that.
Hello, my name is Katie Kellett. I have just moved to the Louisville area from Charlottesville, Virginia. And I'm also a member of a Sangha, an online Sangha, which is made up of all Unitarians, so I figured this was a great place to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Chalice. If you have a chalice at home, you can light it with us as I light the fellowship chalice. So we know where all your the chalices are. Please write in the chat, chalice lit in, and the name of your town. Please say the words along with me as I light our chalice. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. And now I'll sing the bowl again, inviting it to draw us deeper into the present moment and into this, our beloved community.
This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. They may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. The Guest House by Rumi.
All right, we are going to sing hymn number 34 in the gray hymnal. I sing with the bravest fire. So again, it's number 34. All right. Oh, yes, sorry, do that part too. I apologize. Though I may speak with bravest fire and have the gift to all inspire and have not love, my words are vain as sounding brass and hopeless gain. Though I may give all I possess, and striving so my love profess, but not give my word within, the prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control. Our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are freed. Thank you.
All right. So, good morning. There are as many ways to meditate as there are spiritual belief systems, and then some. They all share what Google defines as a set of techniques intended to encourage a heightened state of awareness and focused attention. The inner focus of meditation also gives us the love to build a just and compassionate world and bring more love and reason to life. I use several meditation techniques, and one is the traditional Vipassana meditation of following one's breath into inhales and exhales, being present to the moment and quieting the mind. But I also sometimes use song as a meditation, especially when I've been very busy or find it difficult to calm my mind. I repeat the words as I sing the melody in my mind. And the third technique that I use for meditation is a traditional Jesuit meditation form. You place yourself in an event and use the 5 senses to understand and learn from the event. Stories from Scripture are often used, but one can also use fairy tales, your own family stories, and historical or current events. In a Jesuit way of meditating, you become an active part of the setting, and you are present in the story as an observer, a questioner. And you're not threatened either by the progress of the story or by the persons you encounter, because you're in a bubble, active but safe. You use your senses to understand what's happening. Because you have no stake in the outcome, no expectations, as a Buddhist may say, you allow the scene to evolve and learn from it in new ways. I have a story from Scripture that I would like you to meditate on with me. And remember, this is just a story, one that I used to think was about Jesus, but the more I use it in meditation, I realize that the story is really about the crowd, not about Jesus. So become a part of the crowd with me and use your 5 senses to learn how a little was multiplied into a lot. So I'm quoting now. A large crowd had gathered to hear Jesus teach, and late in the afternoon, the apostles went to him and said, "Send the crowd away so they can go into the nearby towns and find food and lodging." But Jesus said, "You give them something to eat." And they replied, "We only have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and we don't have enough money to buy bread for everybody." So the crowd is supposed to have been about 5,000 men, not counting the women and the children. So the crowd sat down as the apostles told them to do, and Jesus blessed the bread, and they began to distribute the bread among the crowd. Everyone ate and was satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 baskets full of broken pieces that were left over. That's the story. So you are in this crowd of people. You may be bumped, you may be pushed, you may be touched as you walk along with the group, and when you sit down, you definitely feel the dirt and the rocks and the sand of the ground as you're sitting. When the bread is given to you, how does it feel in your hands? In this crowd of people, you are tasting the bread. Is it like bread you've tasted in your own home? Is it bland? Is it old? Is it nutty? Is it chewy? Is it a new flavor to you? Are you eating it with gratitude or eating it because it's better than feeling hungry? In this crowd of people, what does the bread smell like? Or has it given up its fragrance because of its age? What about the crowd around you? Are there animals in the crowd needing to be tended or just wandering about? Can you smell the goats, the dogs, the sheep? And the crowd itself, can you smell sweat from walking, from leaving work to join the group? Are you and the rest of the crowd sweating from being in the sun? And are there babies needing a change? You are in this crowd of people. Look at the variety of people here. All ages, all sizes, all genders, all economic levels shown by their clothes or their hairdos. Are you afraid of anybody in the crowd? You look around for familiar faces. Do you see anyone you recognize? And there you are in the crowd outside on a clear, warm day. In this crowd of people, you have been listening to the teaching all day, and now listen again. Listen carefully. You hear a concern. There's not enough bread for everyone. And then you hear, do you have anything you could share with those around you? Did you bring a piece of bread or cake or egg that you can share with someone else? Did you just buy something in the last town you passed through and you can share it so no one is hungry? You wait. And you hear people say, yeah, I have some bread. I have a piece of cake. I have 2 eggs here. I have. As time passes, everyone has had something to eat because many had a little and were willing to share with those who had less. In this crowd of people, you touched, you tasted, you smelled, you saw, and you heard the multiplication of the loaves and fishes because the community shared what they had.
Each week, we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives and this community by giving half of our plate away to those organizations that share our values. This month, Right Relationship Boulder will be the recipient of our half plate. Right Relationship Boulder is a group of Indigenous and non-Native people working with individuals, local organizations, and governments to support Indigenous people's connection to the land, raising Indigenous voices, and practicing right relationships with those Native peoples who lived in the Boulder Valley historically and those who live here today. Today, the half plate is for the Right Relationship Boulder Youth Spirituality Program, nominated by Diane Ladd. You can text your donation at the number on the screen, or if you're at the fellowship today, Place a donation in the offering plates as it passes. Please give as generously as you are able, as you so often do. For the work of the Fellowship and the Boulder Right Relationships Youth Spirituality Program, we dedicate these offerings. So I began meditating almost 30 years ago, and it probably took me about 15 years to turn it into an actual practice. In 30 years, I can probably count on my fingers and toes the number of times that I was able to truly reach a state of true quiet in my mind. I have heard so many people, even people in this fellowship, say that they tried meditation but they don't do it anymore, or they gave it up because they felt they just weren't doing it correctly. Well, if there's anything that I have learned about meditation in all of these years, is that there is no such thing as doing it wrong. So Jean and I decided to put this together, and Jean hopped on. And we can only tell you what we know. We have absolutely no idea what works for any of you. But hopefully some of what we do can help you figure out how to deal with what might help you. So I meditate if I think I'm doing it wrong, and I don't think that I'm getting anything out of it. Well, first off, people who meditate are in really good company. There's something like 200 to 500 million people who meditate globally. And in the last 10 years, the number of people in the US who meditate has reportedly tripled. Secondly, research has shown that meditation also has health benefits. It can decrease stress and anxiety, making you feel happier and improve your memory. The practice has been shown to reduce depression relapses by 12%. It can also ease your physical pain. Data shows that back pain sufferers who practice meditation are more likely to experience up to a 30% improvement in their ability to carry out daily tasks compared to those who are only taking medication. Research has also shown that people who meditate can reduce their chance of being hospitalized for coronary heart disease by up to 87%. Meditation has even has the power to increase telomerase, which I may not be saying correctly, which is an enzyme that's needed to delay the onset of diseases, including Alzheimer's, by up to 43%. So when asked why they started meditating, participants in a study for the National Health Interview Survey gave the following top reasons. 76% said for general wellness. 60% said improving energy. 50% said aiding memory or concentration. 29% for reducing anxiety. 21% for reducing stress. And almost 18% for reducing depression. That's something to think about. That's some reasons that might make you rethink this whole meditation thing. But then you tell me that you can't get your mind to calm down, so what's the point? That mind jumping around and trying to get in the way of your meditating, there's a name for that. It's called the monkey mind. And I spent years trying to fight it. Guess what? I never won. So I decided to stop fighting and embrace it. I almost revel in it at this point. By just giving in, I find I'm calmer and more at peace, even as those 50,000 thoughts of my day rush in, tapping me on the shoulder, going, "Look at me!" Author Christian Kishore writes, "I meditate, and when I do, Prince Harry appears in my subconscious and meditates with me. It's a little strange, but I don't think there's anything I can do about it. Sometimes he's not the only one. The other day it was me, Prince Harry, the Dalai Lama, Mr. Rogers, Coco the gorilla, and George Clooney. We were all floating above the earth, looking down at the continents as they passed. George Clooney suggested I visit Providence, Rhode Island. The Dalai Lama sighed deeply and said he'd like to visit Tibet. Poor Dalai Lama. And while I have never meditated with Coco the gorilla or George Clooney, I have had a host of characters who have shown up in my meditations to help me through whatever I needed that day. I have tried meditations that focus on your breath, and then my brain has thoughts. Am I breathing correctly? Am I not breathing long enough? Maybe I'm breathing too long. Was I holding my breath? Maybe I wasn't, but maybe I was. Is this the way that you're supposed to do it? I tried so many types, and I found that me, sitting in silence, trying to clear my mind and focus, just makes things that I'm trying to let go and let go by stop. And then those thoughts, they join my quiet little meditation circle. And they bring bongos and guitars, and I think even one of them has a tuba. So for me to meditate, I often listen to music, and those thoughts seem to like music, hence the bongos, the guitar, and the tuba. So they slide right on past with the music so that I can let things go and focus on this moment. I might also decide to look at something and focus on it, like something in nature, or something on my dining room table, or even something on my library shelves. Sometimes I go for a walk and I decide to focus on something while I walk, like the breeze, or the sound of the insects, or how many purple wildflowers do I see. Mostly, I try to take myself out of the realm where my thoughts like to hang out and create a new space for myself. I create my own scene in my head and guide myself through it because my thoughts don't know this place, and they don't like to follow very often. For some reason, I like to go to forests in my head. It's kind of my happy place. So I thought we could all go to one together this morning. So I want everybody to find a way to get comfortable, either in your chair, fold your feet up if you want to sit on the floor if that makes you comfortable, whatever works for you this morning. There's no wrong answers. So shake out anything that you think might get in your way, wiggle it out, and then take a couple of slow breaths in and out, and know you're not doing that wrong either. And let your gaze go soft as you breathe. And you can close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And try not to hold your breath, just keep breathing. Picture yourself standing in a forest or sitting in a forest. It might be full of evergreens or fresh spring leaves, or colorful as autumn starts to set in. Your forest is your forest. Look at the surroundings and just look. As you look, where are you? Do you see water? Sky? Do you see other people or animals? Are you standing in that forest, or are you sitting on a rock or leaning against a tree trunk? Now I want you to listen. Do you hear water? Do you hear insects? Do you see animals that you might not have seen, but you can hear them? Is the breeze blowing, or is it even windy? What do you smell? Do you smell pine resin? Or maybe slightly musty leaves? Or the smell of the earth after rain? Or is it sort of that dry, dusty smell from lack of rain? What do you feel? Do you feel the hardness of the rock that you're sitting on? Or the warmth or the coolness of the weather? Does it feel dry, or is it a little sticky, just slightly humid? Do you feel the sponginess of leaves or pine needles under your feet? or the cragginess of the bark behind your back. Take a minute to just be in this space, letting your senses tell you where you fit in just this moment. Now take notice of your breath in your space, in your forest. Pay attention to it and gently say goodbye to your forest, knowing that you can come back anytime you want. Slowly bring your attention back to this room or to your chair and begin to open your eyes or let your focus begin to sharpen until you all arrive back here. So I stopped fighting my monkey mind, and I found ways to enjoy it, or at least give it its own space. We all just need to create that space where there is no judgment, and you can rest and find your calm and refill your proverbial teapot so that you can go forth into your life and fill the teacups of others, be they your family, your friends, or the world. And from this quiet space, let us take time to celebrate those joys and honor those concerns that we hold on to today. I invite us into our time of sacred sharing, which connects us all as a community. If you're on Zoom and you'd like to share a joy or a concern, please type into the chat window, sending it to everyone, and let us know briefly what is in your heart today, and I will read aloud what you share, and Jean will add a stone to our sacred waters on your behalf. If you're in the sanctuary today, you can come up front and briefly share your joy or concern using the microphone and add a stone to the waters. And you are always welcome to add a stone in silence if that is your preference. Please do remember, for the safety of all of us, to keep your mask on when you share. And wherever you are, please tell us your name, where you live, when you share. Can you add one for all of the scary things going on in the world and sad things that are way too numerous to mention? And one last stone for those things that remain in our hearts, those joys and concerns we are not yet ready to name. While I'm not one who prays in the traditional sense that many of us are used to, I do have a blessing for all of you, acknowledging that which is difficult for you and that which brings you joy today. Please know that I see you, I hear you, and I love you. This is a traditional Celtic blessing called the 9 Waves Blessing. One wave for the fire that kindles the prayer. One wave for the well that carries the voice. One wave for the tree that shelters and holds. One wave for the gods who smile and shine. One wave for the spirits, gentle and kind. One wave for the dead, protecting you now. One wave for the land whose earth forms your bones. One wave for the sea whose foam clears your way. One wave for the sky whose limits you reach. 9 waves that wash you. 9 waves that heal you. 9 waves that brighten your way. Blessed be.
We are going to sing together again one more time. This is in the Teal hymnal. It is the Meditation on Breathing, number 1009. And we're going to do a little experiment. So it's 1009. And there's 3 parts to this. There's one part that just is like one note that just goes. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with that. So if you look at it, it's the bottom line, the when I breathe in, no, I'm sorry, wrong. So the first part goes, breathe in, breathe in, breathe out. So we're going to do, that's the first part. The second part is the top line, which is the melody. And that part goes, when I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Very good. Okay, and the third part is the middle line, and that part goes, when I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the bottom part first. And we're going to go through that twice. And I'm going to kind of separate the room. So you guys are going to be the bottom part. And you're going to start singing, and you're just going to keep singing the whole time, okay? And then you guys are going to be that top line, the melody part. So once these guys have done it twice, then you guys are going to come in and sing the melody part and just keep singing, okay? And then you guys are going to be the descant part, all right? So that's going to come in last. We'll go through that twice. And then we're going to stop that part. You guys are keeping going the whole time. We'll do 2 more, stop that part, and then finish here, okay? And if there's any part, if you want to sing a different part than where you're sitting, doesn't matter. But we're just going to, and once you're done singing like the descant part, if you want to sing the other parts, that's fine too. But we're just going to start with the one part, and then add, and then add, and then come back down and come back down. Okay? All right, we're going to give it a shot. All right, so we're going to start again. Rise in body and spirit. Thank you. All right. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. One more time. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Good. Breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out
So we have come to the necessary part of the service, the announcements. So I'm going to start with a little reminder that this summer we have been alternating between spiritual practices and social justice. And to illustrate that fact, we have our community tree. This tree that you may have seen in the background all summer long has the roots of our congregation in justice, compassion, reason, and love. They're even labeled. Then we go up into our branches and our leaves, which detail all of our spiritual practices and how social justice makes us feel. And you'll notice that the tree is lacking in some leaves up top. Over in the fellowship hall, if you haven't made a leaf or you decide that you need to make another one, there's a table over on the side so that you can share with the congregation what that is. Each of the clouds, which you might see the sky starting to fill up each week, has a theme to the cloud for the service for that week. Kind of our loftiest goals as a congregation of being a space for spiritual exploration and justice making. And as the summer goes on, I want you all, after the services, to come up, look at the clouds, look at the leaves, see what your other congregants, what your friends all have to say, and help me fill in the rest of the leaves so that we have a full tree that truly represents what we are doing in this congregation this summer. It's an interactive art project. Come help me. In addition to our tree, we have an announcement for bystander intervention training for interfaith youth. This workshop for all youth ages 11 to 18 offers training on how to handle situations where someone is harassing an acquaintance in a racist, homophobic, or sexist way. It takes place on August 7th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Community United Church of Christ on Table Mesa Drive in Boulder. They ask that you please register by August 3rd by email to hustonjudy8@gmail.com, and they request that you send your name, age, phone number, your pronouns, food sensitivities, and any other information that the organizers might need. Proof of vaccination is required and a $20 donation is suggested. It's sponsored by the Religious Affairs Committee of the NAACP Boulder County, with Boulder standing up for racial justice. Before we extinguish our chalice and go forth into the rest of our day, let's take one more minute to find a little piece of peace and reflection while Carmen plays for us.
Please say the words along with me as we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish the chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again.
Christiane Martin tells us, when your world moves too fast and you lose yourself in the chaos, introduce yourself to each color of the sunset. Reacquaint yourself with the earth beneath your feet. Thank the air that surrounds you with every breath you take. Find yourself in appreciation of life. Now go forth and know that even in the midst of chaos and the bouncing around of your monkey mind, you too can find a quiet space for peace, for rest, and for love. Blessed be.